Hello and welcome to Sports Bet Daily. I'm trying to bring up, we had to push it an hour, which was great because obviously we now know the men's semi-finals as well. But I had a massive lunch, so I'm like a tiny bit tired. So my little food coma. So I've got my cup of coffee. It's mind over matter, or in this case, mind over mashed potato. And I'm going to bring on the boys, Whale Capper and Snize. I can see. I'm stuffed, I was just saying. Whew, I had a big lunch, and it's sitting in my stomach. So I'm a little bit tired. I'm like food coma, but we've got some great tennis to handicap. So mind over matter. We're going to push on forward. First of all, Snice, how's it going?
Going well. Way past lunchtime here, so my stomach is not heavy. I am ready to get into the action here. Great tennis we've seen today.
What about you, Whale Capper? How's it going? Finally, some good men's tennis, eh? Are you excited?
Yeah, and I'm stuffed full of recent winners and some future tickets that made it to the semifinals. So a lot of positive vibes. A lot of the handicapping we did for the quarterfinals came through in spades. So we did really. We're sitting pretty here to make some money on this Wimbledon tournament, which is a hell of a lot of fun. And yeah, you nailed it. At long last, we finally have some very exciting men's tennis to handicap. We've kind of known we were headed this direction from Jump Street, and now here it is, Friday. Federer, Nadal, part 52. I can't even remember how many times these guys have played each other at this point, and all of the matches have seemed super consequential. But for those who are enjoying this while they're eating their lunch, we should probably save that for dessert since it's the best.
All right, so let us start with the women, because not only do we love women, but because they play tomorrow. So let us start with them. And so no surprise, obviously, Serena Williams, Simona Halep, obviously both playing their respective partners. Just very quickly, name the finalists. Serena Williams and Simona Halep, 1.91. Are we looking at that final? Surely.
Well, that would suit me. That would suit Snize. I think we're both hoping for that outcome. But you might maybe we'll start with the least appetizing of these two, which is the Serena Williams Babs Strakova match. Serena, Serena's 3-0 lifetime against Babs. They've only ever played once on grass, and it was an absolute beatdown. But it was when Serena was at the absolute peak of her powers. So it was not a very competitive match. And this should be a little bit more competitive. Serena's form is obviously, in my opinion, at the top of the four women left, and it's not particularly close. But still, she's not 2016, 2015, 2014 Serena. She's got some vulnerabilities in her service game. She's got some lapses in form during the match that may create a crack. That may I was surprised she lost a set to Risk the way that she played in that first set. It was surprising that she dropped the second set. Obviously she pulled it together, and of the four semifinalists, she was the only one to lose a set in the quarterfinals. So maybe there are some vulnerabilities there that I'm not seeing, but I think this looks pretty patently Serena 2-0 type of match. Congratulations to Babs for making it this far. You won your quarter. You won our friend Noop some money. Good job. But I think this is where the road ends for her, and Serena heads to try to finally recapture post-maternity glory at long last. She's been trying to win this title, and it does feel like the cards are all coming together. The stars are all aligning for her this tournament.
No, absolutely. And obviously priced so as well. Serena Williams 1.3. You can get Babs for 4.3 there. So we're thinking straight sets. Are you on the same page here, Snize?
Definitely. Like we talked about in the last episode on Monday, Serena, her path to the final looked to be clearing up. Her form was looking to get better and better. She's been moving better. She's been hitting harder. She's the best woman remaining in the draw. Strykova, obviously, probably didn't expect to get this far, being in the top half of the draw, which was brutal. And she's played extremely well to reach her first Wimbledon semifinal at 33 years of age. But at this point, I don't think she'll have any answer to the raw power that Serena Williams presents. So I'm definitely in line with Whale here. I think Serena runs away with it here. I didn't really want to touch the spreads because we may have some close sets, but I did go ahead and play Serena Williams to win in straight sets.
Okay.
And I got that at 1.75 or minus 133.
Well, very nice, very nice. I agree with that as well. Now, Barbara Strukova, I have not heard, haven't heard much about her as opposed to a lot of the other sort of tennis players that we know of. Could you give me a little bit of a background to bring me up to speed? Who knows about her?
I would best describe her as a journeywoman. Not a whole lot of like top tier success, but someone who you can count on kind of early stages of a tournament to put away lesser opponents. It was a credit to her to beat Jo Konta on home turf, although we kind of talked about how Konta has a little bit of pressure. You know, the pressure was high, and it looked like after Konta lost that tiebreak and it all was overwhelming for her at that point, and she never really gained control of the match at all and just got wiped away in that second set there. But Strukova, her ceiling as a player, probably top 10 talent. But has maneuvered well through a very, very difficult quarter of the draw. Yeah. As far as her strengths and her her ability to reach a Wimbledon semifinal, she has surpassed what I thought was possible for her at this stage in her career. So credit to her there. I hope she enjoys the day. Gives us something to watch and cheer for. But I like the Serena handicap a lot in this. I think we look for a 6-4, 6-2 type of match here. I think Babs is a fine player, but this is a different level of competition and a different stage than anything she probably has ever been prepared for or expected.
All right, but one to watch in the early stages of competition. I will keep an eye out for Babs there. All right, Alina Svitolina versus Simona Halep. A little bit more even on the outrights there. Simona Halep 1.45. Alina Svitolina at 3.06. Obviously, it is looking like a Serena Williams and a Simona Halep final, with Simona Halep having a slightly longer odds there to win the trophy. So start us off here, Whale Capper. Svitolina versus Halep.
This is kind of the exact opposite of the last match, which, you look at the head-to-heads of Serena and Babs, and it was overwhelmingly in favor of Serena, two different classes of player. Now, Halep versus Svitolina is a completely different story. If you go back in the last 2017, 2018, this has been kind of a low-key, one of the better little kind of head-to-head rivalries in the post-Serena dominating the tour era. Svitolina, and I think they have 5, 6 or 7 maybe since 2017 head-to-heads. Almost all of them were at like late stages of tournaments, finals, for titles, and they've gone back and forth. Svitolina has generally gotten the better of Halep in these contests. She's beaten Halep twice on clay, both times in Rome. Svitolina always plays her best tennis in Rome for whatever reason. And this is a very, very competitive and tight rivalry. I'm surprised that it's been lined as favorably as it has for Halep. They've never played each other in a slam setting. So Svitolina, if you look at her career and her achievements, she's done well. She's won Masters. She won a tour final. But she has consistently underperformed at late stages in slams. If there's one knock on her, it's her knack for choking when you get into the really tense, really high-pressure situations against top competition in these slams. And I think that is shading a lot of the bookmakers' line, and some of the market action here. It's basically looking at a player like Halep, who's done it before. She's won a French Open. She's won a slam. Svitolina consistently chokes, and that's kind of the expectation here, that if the going gets tough, Svitolina is going to not have the mental fortitude to get across the finish line. I personally think this is a very even match, a very close match, and I'm pulling for Halep to get to the final because I want my future ticket to be alive with as much value as possible, so I can come back and balance my action with some of the Serena action I've taken, in large part thanks to our friend Snize, who is pro Serena long before it was cool. So I'd like to see Halep through, but I think it's going to be a monumental task, and it's going to be very tough. And Svitolina does have kind of the answer for some of the strengths of Halep's game, which should kind of level this playing field and present for a very competitive match.
We've got Barsaman here, who I did this one some of the first time I've seen with tennis plays. Great with his football plays. He's like Svitolina plus 1.5 at 1.72. What do you think of that one, Whale Capper? Is that something that you're looking at?
That's a really nice look, actually. The idea that Halep wins in straight sets, I think, is far-fetched. If she does, it's going to be kind of the same. If Halep wins in straight sets, it's going to look a lot like the scoreline you saw with Konta and Barbara Strakova, where Halep takes a tightly contested first set tiebreak, and then Svitolina just melts in the second set because she can't bounce back from losing a tight first set. I definitely don't see a gulf in class between these two in terms of their ability to perform. Svitolina's performance on grass in this tournament to this point has surpassed what I expected by a long shot, but she's got the game. She won the tour finals, beating Halep in the final, if I remember correctly, not all that long ago in Singapore. So, there's really no reason she shouldn't be a live dog in this fight.
And Halep's also been known, obviously, to choke, and it's sort of like, but she seems to be getting over that as time goes by. Obviously, after she won her first Grand Slam, and then it seems to obviously been going from there. Barsaman again saying Halep 2-1 at odds of 4. What's your take on this, Snize? Do you think that the odds aren't quite correct? Do you think it's going to be a closer match than the bookies are really sort of predicting?
I think that very much depends on how well these women starts. As Whale said there, Svitolina is known to choke at the latter stages of Grand Slam tournaments. In fact, this is her very first semifinal appearance in any slam in her entire career. She's never been this far before. So she's going to be on a big court against a Grand Slam champion. How will she handle this? She's been telling us about that she hasn't felt that much pressure because no one has really been talking about it. No one expected her to do anything this tournament, and that's helped her. So that may come into play here. But I think that Halep wins this match. I do think that it will be a closer match than the odds suggest. Likely goes 3 sets. But what I'm done here is I just gone ahead and went for the straight Halep win. And I'm going to parlay that with Serena Williams to win. Halep is one of the only 3 active women right now, along with Serena and Maria Sharapova, to have reached Grand Slam semifinals on all surfaces. I haven't really been that impressed with Svitolina's play, to be honest. I think she should have gone out. She would have gone out to Margarita Gasparyan in the second round if the Russian hadn't got injured. So she was lucky there to scrape by. She struggled versus Sakkari in 3 sets. Then she ran into 2 gassed opponents in Martic and Muchova. So in actuality, she's really been handed a lot of wins or been getting assisted. So I wouldn't really, hype her up too much. I think that Halep will be a test that is too tough for her. She's been playing the best grass tennis of her career. I've never seen her play this well on grass. So maybe, her management, they were onto something when they said they were, targeting Wimbledon. So yeah, I've gone ahead and played Halep to win, and probably that with Serena, who both me and Whale concur would win that matchup, and I can get 1.88 or minus 114 for that parlay.
Yeah, or you can just go ahead and just play name the finalists for 1.91, or take both. Get a little bit more value, because we should hopefully see those in the finals. All right. So, and what Alina Svitolina versus Simona Halep? What was your play, Whale Capper?
Yeah, my final thought is first set over. This has all the makings of like 4 or 5, four. I'll say 4 or 6 breaks in this first set, and a first set tie break that Simona Halep takes 7-6. So I like the first set over is my favorite play on this match. I think this is going to be very competitive early. Whoever gets the advantage in this first set either takes the second set off and saves it up for a third, or their opponent mentally falls apart and it's over in 2. So that's kind of my only highly confident play on this one. I think it should be a great match. I think Snize, you're right. None of Svitolina's play to this point in this tournament has screamed that she is top form for her or really for the tour. But she has survived in advance to this point, and we've seen her pull amazing play late in stages of smaller tournaments in the past. And as much as she has melted down under high pressure situations in the past, if she gets through, I think she'll save that for the final against Serena Williams. But I would say she has less pressure on her than Halep, especially with Halep kind of setting up that this is like a big thing she's focusing on and cares a lot about. And as Natalie mentioned, we've known in Halep's past, she's relied heavily on the support of her coach, Darren Cahill, to kind of give her the kind of pull her together when things were not going well in matches late in stages of major tournaments, and he's not there anymore. So it's all on her to do it all herself, keep it all up here, and kind of keep it together. If Svitolina takes a first set here, it's going to be a lot of pressure on Halep to kind of pull it together and come away with the comeback victory. And I'm not feeling super confident, even having been on the Simona Halep train from the get-go. Here, I'm pretty nervous that she's not gonna, that something's gonna go sideways here in this in this match, because the pressure is on her. Svitolina is kind of playing with house money, and she's done it to Simona Halep before in these situations. Singapore, most notably, and most of them have been on hard court. It's worth noting, but I do think that Svitolina has a fighter's chance here.
All right, a fighter's chance. Okay, so moving over to the men's now, and if we've got time, I'll wait until we can see we've got time. So Novak Djokovic, which one do we start with first?
Yeah.
No, do you want to start off with that one?
Djokovic. This should be quick. This should be real quick.
All right, Novak Djokovic, Roberto Bautista Agut. Which one? Which one? Go for it, Whale Capper. You seem like itching to go over this one.
I'm annoyed by this matchup. I would have liked to seen Djokovic get a little bit better, someone with a little bit with a different game than Roberto Bautista Agut. RBA, as he's colloquially known in the tennis handicapping community, because Roberto Bautista Agut is a mouthful. RBA is he defeated Djokovic before the Australian Open in a huge upset. I lost a lot of money on that. I'm annoyed by Bautista Agut being able to come back and win that match. And I would like Djokovic to get some revenge here by completely embarrassing RBA, beating him 3-0. I don't think RBA is anywhere close to the class of player as Djokovic, especially on grass, especially on center court, especially at Wimbledon, defending champion. This has the makings of Djokovic 3-0 written all over it. And I'm going to look for live opportunities to actually the right look is probably Djokovic to come out and pounce early and be on fire. First set handicap, I think you see Djokovic win 6-1, 6-2 in the first set. I think RBA is kind of he's a gnat, he's a pest, like he hangs around, and he just refuses to go away. And so, there will be probably opportunities live to back RBA on games handicap in the second and third set, because I capped this as about 6-2, 6-4, 6-4 to Djokovic. And I think he punches his ticket to his second straight final, where he beats finally gets a true test.
So you don't rate RBA too highly? All right. Not
Some
your
of it is, I will admit,
not your
that some of it is
favorite.
personal. Some of it is personal because
Because he obviously like lost you loads of money. It's like, I hate him.
Yes, that's right. It's personal at this point.
I know. All right, so nice. So obviously pretty clear there from Whale Capper. What do you like? Novak Djokovic obviously favourites to win it all still. What do you like?
I'm going to have to disagree with Whale here. I don't think that RBA is that bad at all. Like he said, he's already cost people a lot of money. He beat Djokovic twice this year, not only once, twice, 2 times, both in, I think it was Miami as well as Dubai. He's been playing really, really great tennis. Prior to this matchup, this round here, he had spent the least amount of time on court. He had yet to drop the set. His flat hitting style really flourishes on the grass. He's extremely difficult to hit through. He moves well, and he can get surprising amount of power with flicks of the wrist. So he's a really dangerous opponent on grass. These players have actually faced quite a lot. They've faced 3 times in slams, which I've looked at. All of those have gone 4 sets at the very least. So I don't think that RBA is someone that's going to go in and just lie down and die. He's going to hang around. He's going to get into Djokovic's head. It's going to be a tough match. And I saw this line open, the handicap line open at plus 7.5 games. And I think that's at least 1 game too many here. Even if Djokovic wins in 3 sets, which is likely, for him to win by 7.5 games, I think that's a bit too much. It's going to be difficult. I think we're going to see a couple of 6-4 sets, and that RBA can hang around within this number here. So I went ahead and played plus 7.5 for 1.80 or minus 125.
Ooh, what do you think of that, Whale Capper?
I don't hate it. Your points are valid. I'm shaded by, I forgot about the Miami. I lost money on that too. I was on Djokovic with the handicap. Like, I was loaded up on Djokovic big time on both of those matches because I didn't learn my lesson the first time, I guess. But the best look I think here really is the first set handicap for Djokovic. I think you see 2 breaks from him, which gives you a 6-2 or a 6-1 win in that first set. So I'm going to lay 3.5 games with Djokovic in that first set. And then, I get your point about 6-4s being in the cards, that RBA could steal one. That's entirely likely. I think it happens later if it happens. I don't think he comes out of the gate and goes toe-to-toe with Djokovic. His serve is not powerful enough. He does not have as strong enough service game to be, to get into a deep first set and, hold to tie break and try to steal a first set from Djokovic. He may pester Djokovic on the serve, but the way Djokovic has been serving has been extremely impressive to me. And so I still think Djokovic 3-0 is a reasonable play. I don't love the price. But I could see another situation here where Djokovic is in complete control of this match, up 2-0, up a break in the third even, and RBA is just hanging around and taking the punches and comes back and steals a third set somehow and crashes that 3-0 play. I'll be on the lookout for that because that's the type of player RBA is. But I still think Djokovic gets through the next round here. I still think the price on the money line is appropriately reflects his likelihood to get through. And his first set handicap or the first set under is another way to attack that because I think we see 7 or 8 games in this first set.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have to say 1.11. That is very, that's quite a low price in there for Novak Djokovic. Somebody I was just reading on the comments here, Brandon Parker likes Serena and Nadal. I'm guessing that is to win it. It's got the money mouth emoji. So it's just like the thing. And but Nadal Nadal 4.33 there, Novak Djokovic 1.73. Now, obviously, I think part of the price there for Rafael Nadal to win it all is because he's up against Roger Federer. Now, one thing that we were talking about was obviously as Wimbledon goes on, the grass court becomes more and more like a surface of a clay. Is that true now, Snize? Is the quality of the grass starting to go?
Yes, as with all grass tournaments, as the grass gets exposed to play, people move around, they slide around, especially around the baselines. It wears down, looks a bit, if it's rainy, which it hasn't been, it gets muddy as well. But we haven't had that, luckily. No rain at all, actually. But yeah, the grass court wears down, it gets a bit slower, which obviously plays into the hands of a clay court assassin like Nadal. So it'll definitely help him here playing Federer late into this tournament.
Yeah, and 1.71 just on the money line there for Rafael Nadal. Would you take it, or is there something else that you're looking at?
No, I wouldn't take that. As I'm probably going to go, head to head with Whale here. But as I've said, I believe that Federer is the man who's going to go to the final here. I've been eyeing this matchup versus Nadal, and I think that Federer is the man to get through. That said, though, as I already have 2 futures down on Federer, both to win the tournament and to reach the final, I'm not going to, triple down here. I'm going to keep it a bit sensible. So what I've gone ahead and done instead is I've looked at alternative options for this match. So yeah, here we are. This is the epic rematch of the 2008 Wimbledon final. Many regard it as the best tennis match of all time. Both these crowd-beloved tennis colossals have looked very sharp, dispatched most opposition without too much trouble. Nadal had some sketchy sequences versus Query, but managed it. He was a good grass court, by the way. Federer ran into a fresh Nishikori for once today. Doesn't happen often. So he dropped a set there, but then turned it on and came through. Last time these two met in a slam, that was in 2017 of the Australian Open. And that was a 5-set thriller, which Federer won a 3-2. And I can't really look past another epic tussle here. Both have been dominant behind their serves. I'm expecting long sets. I'm expecting at least 4 sets and a 5-set thriller very much on the cards here. So I saw a line at 42.5 games, and I immediately hit the over there. And I got that at 2.00 or plus 100. So even money on the over.
Well, I know, triple down. It's got a ring to it, but yeah, I like that look as well. I have to say, I think it's not just with Whale Capper that you're head to head, or I think quite a few people are probably on Rafael Nadal. But listen, you're a great tennis handicapper, and I love it when these things happen. So obviously,
there's plenty of people on Federer too. This is a very hotly contested head to head. No consensus in the community as to who's going to win this.
Really? Well, I don't know. If this was a seesaw, I think that the seesaw side for Nadal would have more people on it than the one sitting on Roger Federer's seesaw, and they would be up.
Yeah, okay. So
I would say there's more people.
Yes. Snize, you did an excellent job of setting up this matchup, but you did forget their last head-to-head in the slam was 3-0 to Nadal at the French Open, like a couple weeks ago. I guess it was such a quick match. It was such a beatdown. It's easy to forget about it. I mean, it was like that. He just utterly wiped the Roland Garros dirt with him in his stupid brown shirt. But I'm just being sarcastic. I think Federer absolutely has a fighter's chance in this one. Absolutely. He has gotten stronger and stronger and is moving better and better as the tournament has gone on. You look at his results, you say, oh, well, he dropped a set to, Lloyd Harris, George Lloyd Harris, and he dropped a set to Nishikori today. I don't really hold those against him at all. His service has been superlative. His pressure that he put on Nishikori every single service game after the first set, he was on him, and really, really made him fight for every single game that he won there. That mentality, that form is going to be very, very tough for Nadal to beat on grass. Nadal is playing well now. Most of my confidence to this point was all based on price. I didn't think that Nadal should have been priced in the futures market. I thought he should have been about the same exact price as Federer, not necessarily higher than him. And so that was really kind of my entire angle, because I was thinking, we're going to get to this point in the tournament and Nadal's going to be an underdog and people are going to expect Federer to return the favor of having just beaten him to a pulp at Roland Garros, and now it's Federer's turn to to beat Nadal to a pulp now that it's on grass in Wimbledon. But lo and behold, the entire market flipped on this, and Nadal now the favorite in this on the opener was surprising. I mean, not surprising if you were watching the futures market, because Nadal took more and more futures money as week two has gone on here. But yeah, they opened it Nadal a favorite, and Nadal has gotten bet up from like minus 115 to about minus 135 now. 20 cents of movement in the favor, in the direction of Nadal here. So you're right, Natalie, you are spot on. There are more people getting on the Nadal side of the seesaw here, and it's flipped my opinion, actually. I see value now on the Federer number. I think this is 100% a coin flip match. I think this is 5 sets written all over it. Snize, you brought up the 2017 epic Australian Open final that went 5 sets. This has every makings for that in terms of the form of the players, in terms of how much tennis they've played to get here, in terms of just their overall strengths and ability to penetrate each other's games. It's absolutely perfectly set up for a 5-set match. I like over 4.5 sets at plus 225 or 3.25 if you're in the EU. If you're going to give me the opportunity pre-match to bet Federer at plus money, I will take that every time, because Nadal starts slow. The idea that Nadal is going to come out and light the world on fire from set 1 and be in control of this match from gate to wire is lunacy. It's crazy, and people are all into live betting right now. They are all about it, and I can almost certainly tell you that Federer will win. Should be the favorite to win set 1 here, and whatever happens after that, there should be some good back and forth. But I just do not see the way that Nadal starts tennis matches. I do not see any stretch of the imagination where he wins wire to wire. If you think he should be the favorite, and if you think Nadal will win set 1, you might as well back Nadal 3-0, because he gets the ball going, rolling downhill as his momentum picks up here. But I don't see that at all. I think Federer takes the first set here. I think this is a back and forth match where they exchange punches for 5 sets. And so I'll happily take Federer at plus money pre-match, and I will happily take Nadal at plus money after Federer wins, set number 1. I think it's worth sprinkling some money on Federer to win the first set at plus money, and I think over, however you want to play it, is worth the swing here. Over 3.5 sets is probably a decent parlay piece with some reduced juice. Djokovic handicap, like maybe Djokovic minus 5.5 with parlayed with over 3.5 sets here, is probably a good way to put together a nice plus money ACA. But this should be one of the better tennis matches we get to see in all of 2019, and I absolutely cannot wait for it. And if I was forced to make a call, I'm looking for Federer here 3-2.
Oh, okay. But what you're going to do is you're taking Federer on the money line right now because you think he's going to win the first set. That's going to bump up Nadal's price, and then you're going to go over and you're going to get a little bit of Nadal love as well. Here we go.
That's right. I'll have
beating those bookies up there again.
Plus money in both hands, and then I kick the feet up and enjoy the rest of the match. That's the plan.
Very, very nice indeed. All right, so let us recap here our plays for the men's side. Snize, what do you want?
I'm on Federer and Nadal over 42.5 games at even money. That is my max play. That's the play I'm most confident in on this entire card here. I am on the men's side. I'm on Roberto Bautista Agut plus 7.5 games at 180 or minus 125. I think this game is 1 game off. I think it's going to be extremely tight both ways here. Who covers this number? But I think this number is slightly too large for the Spaniard, and I think he hangs in here. So that's me for the men's.
And Whale Capper, same question to you.
So I'm all over the board here. I've got sprays played all over. Some of that is I've won a decent amount in this tournament to this point, and so I'm kind of putting a lot of it back in just to have more fun. So keep that in mind. The Djokovic match, I think for sure. We look for Djokovic in the first set handicap. I like Djokovic minus 3.5 games there. Actually, I like minus 2.5 games. I also like minus 3.5, depending on where your book is. I like under 9 or under 8.5 or under 9.5 games as well. And I like Djokovic 3-0, but not specifically highly confident in that. And then I like a Djokovic minus 5.5 parlayed with an over 3.5 sets in the Federer and Nadal match. Federer Nadal, as we just broke down, I think Federer takes set number 1. I think it goes potential to go 5, so I'm playing over 4.5 sets at plus 225. And the last kind of point I guess I want to leave you guys with, we're handicapping this match 2 days out, and these competitors are exceptionally tight. Like Federer and Nadal know each other extremely well. The margin that's going to make the difference either way here is very, very narrow. For those reasons, you have to pay very close attention to what time they actually are going to start this match, right? I'm guessing it's going to be on after the Djokovic match wraps up. So you need to be very cognizant of what time it starts. The later in the day, the more that favors Federer, okay? You also need to pay attention to what is the weather conditions the day of the match. It's tough to say right now, 2 days out, how it's going to be. The warmer and the drier it is, the more it favors Nadal. So keep these two kind of factors in your head as we get closer to the match if you don't want to decide today which way you're leaning. I personally think Federer 3-2 here is how it breaks down. But it's extremely competitive, and as it should be one of the most fun tennis matches we get to see all year.
Yeah, very true indeed. Give these guys a follow at @whale_capper, at Snize with a Z Master. I'm sure they'll be posting their plays. All right, we literally have 3 minutes, so I can ask my final question. Now, it seems a little undecided, obviously, what were the men's finals. We seem to be quite sure that it's a Halep Williams final. So very, very quickly, what do you think the outcome of that would be? And then obviously, I think we'll be back on Friday to actually discuss the real final. But what do you think there? Is Serena Williams winning it at all, or does Simona Halep have a very big chance here? Will it be a long game? Very quickly, Whale Capper. 2-0.
Serena Williams 2-0.
Really? Serena Williams 2-0? Oh, I don't know. What do you think? I don't know. I think Simona Halep will get something. Whale Capper 2-0 Serena Williams? Really?
No, I'm gonna go 2-1 Williams. I think 2-1. I think Serena Williams comes back from losing the first set, and wins in a third set, extra games. I'll say 8-6 in the third set to Serena Williams.
Wow. All right. Well, we will be back on Friday to preview the real final. Maybe that is it. But if you do like Serena Williams 2.1, I can imagine that price is going to heavily drop if she wins this match, which she should do. All right. Fantastic stuff. Whale Capper, Snize. Wonderful as always. A pleasure. And I'll see you on Friday. And thank you very much to everybody watching. Best of luck with your bets.
Best of luck, everybody.
Take care.
Oh.